afternoon, everyone. So great to be here. My name is Ken Jones. I'm a retired teacher and a teacher educator and a member of Veterans for Peace. And I'm an associate member. Anyone can belong to Veterans for Peace. It's the best anti-war organization I've ever known. And I have the honor to speak for them today. I'm here to call for demilitarization, not just no war of course, but demilitarization of our schools, our society and culture, and our minds and spirits. We all know about the presence of military recruiters and JROTC in our schools. What we should also realize is that the very curricula of schools are geared towards understanding war-making and imperialism as a natural thing. It's not. School is bent on creating norms and routines that are all too often overemphasizing regimentation and obedience, preparing students to be compliant workers in a war economy, or to be good soldiers following orders, or in many cases, to be prisoners. We should realize that the standardized tests that straitjacket teachers and students have a direct lineage from the eugenics movement and from the use by the military to separate and stratify its ranks. The tests we give kids today come from years ago, the eugenics movement and the military. We also know about the glorification of war and soldiers in our movies, in our mainstream news, in our sports events. Air shows and fireworks are designed to thrill us while acclimating us to war imagery. Video games for kids are developed in collaboration with the military. Holidays and parades are festooned with flags, evoking a kind of patriotic idolatry. And now we have Trump's military parade in Washington, D.C., or what used to be called Armistice Day, now called Veterans Day. Veterans for Peace will be there to resist and to raise the banner of peace. We should also realize how our minds and spirits have been conditioned by government propaganda and the corporate media to accept the inevitability of war and militarism. In the 60s and 70s, there was a vibrant anti-war movement in this country. I was there, many of you were there. Now it is difficult to get people mobilized to stop the likes of a nuclear confrontation in Korea, or to end our endless war-making in Muslim-majority countries such as Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and Yemen, or to prevent the oncoming horrendous war in Iran. It is hard to get more than a small number of people organized against the brutal repression we sponsor around the world in the interest of capitalism and colonialism. In Honduras, in Ukraine, in Venezuela, in Palestine. Even when militarism runs amok in our own country, with our militarized police forces killing black men and women every day, with ICE kidnapping and deporting our Latinx friends and neighbors, with the militarized attack on the indigenous resistance at Standing Rock, with the systematic dehumanization and torture in our prison industrial complex. So many of us have trouble becoming part of an active resistance. And it's so great to have us all here being part of an active resistance. Many of us are resisting, saying no more. Today, let us hold up 7 Catholic workers for their inspirational active resistance to the war machine. These are the Plowshares activists who illegally entered the Kings Bay Naval Submarine Station in Georgia on April the 4th, the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. They carried hammers and baby bottles of their own blood to symbolically beat swords into plowshares and to call our attention to the horror and existential threat of nuclear weapons. One of them is from right here in Raleigh, Patrick O'Neill, recently released on bail at home in home arrest. Not all of us can sacrifice our freedom like they have. But we can all do something to bear public witness against the madness of war and the militarism that is spreading around the world like a cancer. Let's be clear. We live in a society that spends 53 cents of every federal discretionary dollar on the military and only 15 cents on anti-poverty programs. We have 20 veterans on the average committing suicide every day. Shame is right. We must turn this around. We who believe in freedom and peace cannot and shall not rest until it comes. We will show up, we will disobey, we will march on, forward together.
Not one step back!